The only time I have ever made a British Aerospace Hawk is this one, which is the Airfix starter set, which I made whilst drunk. That is, until today, where I've made some friends for it. Hello, Captain VFC here with a build video today looking at the Airfix Club limited edition BAe Hawk XX154 First and Last, basically the 2022 Airfix Club kit. I wasn't a member in 2022, but there was clearly some surplus stock because after I joined the club in 2023, these things were being sold off for a rather reasonable price. I can't remember the price, but I'm sure if I remember, I'll put it somewhere here for you all to see. Now, unfortunately, this is all I've got left of the box, and it is broken. It had a meeting with the backside of an aging tabby cat, and her weight compressed the side out. But hey, it's fine. I've already made the kits, so it's okay. This will be a typical sort of build analysis video, so I'm not going to be talking about every single step along the way. It will just be me rambling, hopefully coherently, about the build experience. If you like the sort of content, let me know, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. But for now, let's see what happened when I made this kit. So taking a look at the box, you notice it is not the normal design. This is not the standard bright red cover on the outside. It does have it down the bottom, of course, where it says BAe Hawk XX154 First and Last. But it is a unique box style for this particular release. That does also mean there's no flying hour, as you can see on the side there. But anyway, it shows the two aircraft on the front and a history on the side there. That is the product code, should you want it. It is still, at time of recording, available on the club website. Anyway, let's have a look. We'll go into the history of this aircraft a little bit later, but let's just cut it open and see what we've got inside. There are two separately wrapped kits, so this is obviously the same kit twice, and they are separately wrapped in a nice square box, which I quite like. And then underneath we have the instructions and the decal sheet, which, you know, just throws itself out like that. Also a separate call out, which we'll see shortly. The decals are cartograph, standard Airfix deal. There is nothing wrong with these at all. You may notice that option A has considerably fewer decals than option B. There is a reason for that, which I'll talk about a little bit when we actually look at the kits themselves being built. And here is one scheme, which is as built. I say as built, as first entered service, as per the box. We'll get there. And then the second one, the black one, is as it was 45 years later. The instructions are standard Airfix. The little info sheet history page at the start is for the standard Hawk, but obviously, as you saw, the title at the top specifies that this is for just these ones. On the back, you have stencils for option B only, the black one, so it's obviously a separate reprint rather than just the exact same one as normal. For sprues, this is just one of the kits. The other one was still in its bag because I didn't want to lose anything. And it is finely moulded. There was a tiny bit of flash. You can not really see it there, but on the engine intakes there was a tiniest bit of flash. And one part, this I assume it's some sort of antenna, had fallen off the sprue, and so I kept that to one side. We will see if that ends up on the final kit. Not going to lie to you, looking back at this, I can't even remember if I found that or not, but I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. Anyway, fuselage detail it's fine. It's fairly basic. It's not the newest of tool, but the moulding, as you can see here, is still crisp. Still looks good. We have an interior piece here with little sidewall detail on it, so there's very little on the fuselage itself. It's all sort of a modular construction on the inside. But yeah, you know what? It looks decent. Like I say, I'd never actually built a Hawk until this one from Airfix. In fact, from anyone. So, other than the Red Arrow starter set, go back to the beginning if you've already forgotten what I said, because I already have. There is one pilot. It's a two-seat aircraft. So, again, one pilot. Spoilers, because I know what I'm like. There are there's not two clear parts. Of the clear parts, one of them, you see, it's a sort of bulkhead, a clear bulkhead thing. I couldn't fit that in either of these kits. I'm likely to forget that when we're talking about the build, but yeah, I just couldn't work it out. You can't see it. I mean, obviously it's not there, but you wouldn't be able to see it even if it was there. So I just ignored that. That is fine. So construction starts with the interior, pretty much as you would expect. I followed the instructions mostly, but this is of course a tricycle undercarriage aircraft, so my usual deal of making sure it sits on its nose by assembling as many subcomponents before assembling them all together as one unit, again takes place as you will see. But there were absolutely no fit issues with this at all. Oh no, oh that's not true. We'll get to it. There's one. It's my fault, but there is one. Is it an issue if it's my fault? Comment below. Is it a fit issue if it's just me being incompetent? Actually, I don't even want to see the results of that. But yeah, tell me anyway. There are limited controls. This is a basic kit. There is a flight stick. There is a instrument panel for both pilots or pilots. And that is pretty much it. But again, the detail is fine. The only downside, I guess, because it's got quite a large canopy, you can clearly see the seat, and I think having some etched seat belts or interior would really make this shine. But then, you know, do you really want to put that much effort in on a cheap Airfix kit? I don't know, up to you. The interior is painted light grey. This was it's the colour that the first one is painted. What's it called? Light aircraft grey? Is it light aircraft grey? I'm going to have to go and have a look. Please hold. Light aircraft grey. There it is. Yes, British standard light aircraft grey. Oh, it's a good job I make notes in my instructions, isn't it? Otherwise, this would be awkward and embarrassing. The seat itself is then picked up in olive drab. The instructions also say to paint some of it dark grey, which you will see me doing next on sort of the floor and around. Honestly, I think it was probably a bit of a waste of time. It's not quite clear enough to see that, and I probably should have painted the floor. Yeah, here we go. Should have really painted that before assembly, but yeah, it looks fine. And then each of them have instructions, instrument panel decals, and the sidewall control panel as decals as well. So you've basically got 3 per pilot, so 6 interior in total. Wings! Wing top goes on to wing bottom. I'm sure that will be a complete shock to anybody that's made an aircraft ever. Again, they just fit really nicely. There have been a few kits recently that I will not mention that have not been so pleasant fitting for the wings when it should be so simple. Anyway, the fuselage, as you can see, I have actually painted the light aircraft grey on the inside of the walls and the nose wheel well as well. The cockpit is being glued to just one side, in this case the starboard side, all being clamped together as if the fuselage were being glued, although it is not. This is just to make sure it sets in exactly the right place and can still be detached. It's basically dry fitting one side to make sure the other side fits perfectly. All the details put on the wings at this point, and the tail is also stuck on. Again, the fuselage is clamped together, however it is not actually stuck together, as you will see. The wings are at an angle. The instructions tell you what angle to put it. I did not measure it. I prefer to do it by eye, as I'm doing here, lining up with the main wings, again by dry fitting. And the reason why the fuselage can still be taken apart is this. I'm putting lead in it. The instructions did call for weight. I have them right here, so I will be able to tell you how much weight. I think it was 5 grams. Yeah, 5 grams. I didn't put 5 grams of weight in. I don't think this would have really needed any. Maybe 1 gram. I think I put 3 in there, and it was fine. This one, giving the colour away, is going to be the first of the first and last, is its signal red air intakes or engine intakes. So what is this first and last nonsense? Well, this is the same aircraft at 2 very key points in its life. Option A depicts Hawker Siddeley Hawk XX154 as per its first flight, August the 21st, 1974. That aircraft, the first ever Hawk, the prototype of one of the most successful aircraft to come out of British aviation. That aircraft went on as a test and development aircraft until its airframe achieved the maximum permitted of 6,000 hours, and so it was withdrawn from flying service. And then on the 45th anniversary of that first ever flight, it took to the air one last time, being lifted up by a Chinook and taken to the Boscombe Down Aircraft Collection. where it exists to this day, and that is Scheme B. So you have the first flight and the last, shall we say, assisted flight of this legendary prototype aircraft. Anyway, back to the model, and the fuselage halves have been glued together, and I've also realised I've missed the one fit issue that I alluded to at the beginning. It was actually I think it's the port engine intake. I just didn't put it on quite right. There's a slight gap on one side that isn't there on the other side. I didn't replicate it with the second one, so whatever it was is, I'm guessing, my problem, and it's actually not that noticeable. Watching the footage back again, I realise I clearly didn't do as bad a job as I thought I did. On to painting, and the entire thing has been sprayed in a white primer, and the RAF traffic white now goes in the airbrush, and yes, this is actual footage of me spraying white on a white aircraft. Yes, look how good and clear and professional this looks. You'd have to take my word for it. I am actually spraying as the footage is playing. However, yeah, not very professional, is it? White on white. The white primer made sense because, of course, the lightest colour on the aircraft is white. The red has very thick coverage anyway, very high pigment content. So, yeah, you just have to take my word for it. The covers on the wheel wells is the closed doors. It's slightly blowing up a little bit from the pressure, but the BS light aircraft grey is being sprayed in the relevant places. At this point unmasked, it doesn't really matter. But the paint is, as you saw, it's all Hataka. It's blue line, so it's designed for paint brushing rather than airbrushing. Paint brushing? Hand brushing. You know what I mean, a paintbrush. An airbrush is an air paintbrush. Whatever. So it's thinned down with some Hataka acrylic thinner, and the ratios I was just making up as I went along. It's the first time I've done this, and I think it went on very well. And then the signal red, of course, very, very visible, sprayed on once it has all been masked. Now, this is the first time I've ever airbrushed a multiple coloured aircraft. It's the first time I've airbrushed with so much masking, and I was very concerned that I was going to completely screw it up. However, as we're going to see when I start peeling back that tape, drum roll, it's all right. Yes, there was a little bit of bleed. It's so satisfying, isn't it, peeling all the tape off? Oh, very enjoyable. No, there was a little bit of paint bleed. I think I did a good job. You can see there that it's mostly the red. The white itself was absolutely fine. The grey didn't go it was never masked, so there was never any chance for it to go anywhere it shouldn't do. But the lines, yep, pretty straight, pretty happy with it. And you get all the satisfaction of peeling all that tape off. So even though I really don't like masking, I do see the strengths of masking and airbrushing like this. I mean, let me know what you think. Yes, I have since touched it up, of course, and the next shots you're going to see will show that I have, with a small paintbrush, just gone over those horrible little bits that went over it. But yeah, I'm really happy with that result. Anyway, the anti-glare panel on the front was masked off as well. Not airbrushing such a small part like that. Honestly, I don't have that much patience. It was just get a paintbrush, little dab of black. What black is it? I don't know. Probably jet black, because it's part of the same Hataka set. But it's black. Black is black. It's fine. It's not actually. It's a tiny bit blue. Then the decals are being added. Now, the instructions do actually specify, I really like this, that when XX-154 first flew, it didn't have any sort of weapons pods. It basically was clean. It didn't have many stencils. It was very, very basic. They tell you that. They explain why there are loads of stencils for one of the options only. And it also confirms the colour of the wheel well detail. There was a printing issue in that it tells you one thing but shows you another. I just went with what I felt made the most sense. On this aircraft, I believe it was fine. But you can see that I've got the roundels on. They fit on beautifully. They're cartograph decals. You're not really going to have a problem with them. And the limited stenciling of this one really helped. Finally then, we move on to the canopy. Like I said at the beginning, I didn't put the clear bit in because I couldn't work out how to put it in, but I used some Revolt contactor. This is the scary, you could completely destroy the canopy method of gluing it on. I will not apologise for art. No, I've done it enough times and I accept the risk. Yes, it would be better to use some sort of clear fix or better canopy glue. Just be careful with it and you're fine. And then it is hand painted. Again, there is no point in masking a canopy, in my opinion, when it is this easy to paint. Well, I guess that takes us more or less to how we ended up with this beauty here, but we still have another one. So there we have it, 2 Hawks done, the same aircraft at the beginning and end of its life. I think genuinely this is a fantastic idea. I nearly joined the Airfix Club in 2022 for these Hawks, and I'm a little bit disappointed that there are so many still available, because clearly there are, otherwise they wouldn't have been sold off at lower prices. Yes, getting 2 of the same aircraft may be considered a bit boring, but I genuinely think it makes an interesting subject, it makes a good display. And yeah, I'm really happy with this. Like I say, at time of recording they are still available on the Airfix website, so I think you should get them, quite frankly. Even if you've got Hawks before, go for it. And the black one looks lovely as well. I mean, it's such a simple colour, but it did have a stupid number of stencils to brighten it up. But yeah, I think they look really nice together. And the black one of course went together in exactly the same way, but I could do it a bit more leisurely without having to worry about the camera, so all good. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'm now off to go and throw loads of ice over myself. Like, subscribe, if you want to get notified of this, then hit the notification bell. Up to you. I will be back with more videos shortly, so thank you for watching, and bye.